So if you think that Obama is done, if you think he's just out of the picture now, you're out of your mind. There's a lot of evidence that not only is he not going to stay out of the picture, but he might like to reposition himself. How crazy would that be? I don't know how that would play out. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. But I'm going to share some stuff with you here tonight. Things I've been looking into, been curious about this subject. And yeah, I'll see what you guys think. By the way, I'm KJ Osborne with a Z, and this is Catching Up with KJ episode number 63. It's Saturday night, March 4th. Thanks for being here. Hope you guys are well. Can you hear me? That'd be important. I'm trying Google Chrome for the chat, but I have to do something else in Firefox while I'm doing this. So we'll see how it plays out. So far, it looks pretty smooth. Well, hi everybody. How you doing? Good to see you. And let's do some shout outs. It's been a while since we just did like a chill and chat. I've had a lot of guests on and missed some shows there for a while. So tonight we'll just kind of hang out. If you have any questions, anything that you want to talk about, any subjects, just feel free to bring them up in the chat. So thanks again for being here, guys and gals. I hope you're all well. And let's see who all is here. Chat always goes so fast. It's hard to keep up. But hello, everybody. Okay, good. You can hear me. That's always important. Sometimes it's hard to tell. I've done a few shows in the past where I went for almost 15 minutes, 10 minutes with no sound at the beginning. I didn't even realize it. So, rut-row. Hey, Twitwood, how you doing? Jenny, good to see you. Alex, what's up? Richard, Main Life, and Everett, how you doing, man? Good to see you. A lot of familiar faces here tonight. Justnet, how you doing? Good to see you. Petro, sorry if I don't get a chance to call you out. I try to jump in there. And Paola Isra says, "Where are you, KJ?" That's scary. I'm not going to tell you exactly where I'm at, but for now, I'm just in the internets. Let's say, let's imagine. You know what I mean? I got to keep some of my life to myself, I suppose. But I am in the States. I am back in the States. I'll say that much. And I'm doing okay. What's up, Relevant? How you doing? Good to see you. Devin, Gina, what's up? Good to see you guys. Kat, Unite and Conquer. Oh, Paola. Okay, yeah, that's cool. No problem. I know you're just kind of just being curious. We're still friends, okay? It's gonna be good. I like you. Mad Guns, how you doing, man? Good to see you. So just once again, guys, nice to see everybody here. And that's what I'm gonna. Oh, somebody said, "Hey, Phoenix," said I should do a GoFundMe for Rascal. I miss him, man. I know. I really try not to think about it much. What's up, Emma? How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, that's a rough one, man. It really is. He's like my best friend for 2 years. 2 years. So, what's up, Orlando? How you doing, Bobby? Good to see you. Yeah, he was my pal. It's crazy. It'd been a long time since I'd had a pet, and I forgot just how close you can grow to these things. It's like kind of becomes family or something. So anyway, don't get me started. I said I wouldn't cry. I said I wouldn't cry. I'm not going to cry tonight. Okay. Serene, how you doing? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a lot better. Thanks. Arms or shoulders still not fully, 100%. Like I can't lift weights and stuff like that for a few more months, but it's pretty good. It's a little crunchy from time to time. It feels, if that makes any sense. But I'm doing better. Hi, Luna. Good to see you. Never Sky. So faithful brain. Good to see you. Lori's here. Nice. So yeah, but anyway, this one thing I've been noticing. I'm actually working on some videos. I've got a few coming. I've got one that I pretty much recorded some today and just compiled everything I needed, and that'll be out in a few days. And then I've got a couple more I got to pop out. I've been behind. I took almost a week off and I went down to Texas and I saw a few friends. Then I came back after that and didn't really do a lot of work down there, but I'll talk more about that, a little later. That's a whole story there. It's pretty cool. One of the friends you guys wouldn't know. It's just like a real life friend. Well, the other one's a real life friend too, but we became friends through YouTube about 5 years ago, and his name is Jonathan Kleck. And I think I just heard some unsub clicks. Now that happens sometimes because he's very controversial, but with all kidding aside, I know him and I think he's awesome. I met him through YouTube, and I was able to go down and see him a couple times. I've hung out with him and Clay as well, and great guys, great dudes. Not Illuminati confirmed. I can promise you that these guys are not Illuminati. These guys love the word so much. They love the Lord so much that it even overwhelms me because I thought I had really strong faith. But the one thing that's really, everything's great hanging out with these guys, but the one main thing I took away is that I have to really like get into the Bible myself, because admittedly over the years, I've kind of picked and choose what I needed to from there, for certain guidance and things like that. And I'd use some of the videos and whatnot. But, I haven't had a full comprehension for a long time, and I'm just being straight up. I never said I did. I've always said I'm not a Bible scholar, and I'm always paraphrasing scripture, rut-row, right? So, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful or anything, just being honest, that's the way it's been. I mean, I love God. I love the Lord, love Jesus. And I should, and I should, it's not that I don't love the Bible. I don't know. I've always had a complicated relationship with it. I don't know. I was raised a bit religious, and that kind of turned me off from all of these things for a long time. And then I came back to my faith, and I'd accepted Christ as a kid anyway. And really always, ever since I was little, felt I had a real relationship there with God. But I always looked at it, and I still tried to in my adult life through the eyes of a child the best I can, in an innocent way. But anyway, so I'm rambling, and this is what I do. But since the trip and hanging out with the fellas, I realized that, I really need to know my Bible. And so I'm working on it, and I'm going through it. And I'm mainly going to be listening actually at first, doing the audio thing. That's kind of where I've been with it up to now. But eventually get into fully reading it myself. So at least I'm trying, guys. Okay, stop yelling at me. Let's see here. Let's jump over here to the chat again and say hi. Leela Marie, I know. Again, guys, I mean, look, I know that a lot of people have strong feelings against Jonathan, and I've mentioned him in the past as being a friend. I've even shared some of his info in some of my videos from time to time, and just being real about it and being honest. But I know him, like I said, personally, and this stuff's heavy, man. The stuff he gets into and that he shows is really heavy, and they wear it too. You can tell they feel it, they wear it, but I don't know. Again, I don't really. I have my own feelings on all that, and it's really controversial stuff. Like I said, I understand that. Um, I was already, with Christ before I knew all this stuff, and before I knew anything like this, before I was ever really awake, even before I started my journey into all this with making the scariest movie ever made, and almost around 9 years ago now, all the way up to now, and still doing stuff like this. So my had my beginning too. But before that, I mean, I still had a relationship with Christ, so I already had that. But since waking up, not just Jonathan's, reveals things he's given, but so many other people here on YouTube, I think, that have great gifts and are really showing things, showing how the veil's lifting, really showing real truth that's coming out, no matter how dark it may be, because it's just time to put on our big boy pants. We have to see some of the scary stuff to understand how serious it's getting, you know, and it has been getting, for years. But anyway, not trying to be a fearmonger, but let's jump back over here to the chat and say hi. You're welcome, Lily. Just being honest, I don't want to, just whatever. I'm just trying to be real with you. But hey, I love everybody. Okay, I'm just that guy. All right. Let's see. Paul Revere, how you doing? Says get KJ a turtle. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like Bill Gates. Actually, I was just telling someone about that recently. That one of my first memories. I mean, I was still in diapers. I remember one of my first memories was getting bitten or getting snapped at my finger by a turtle, and I got a blood blister. So I started off pretty rough with turtles, but still, it's been a long time. I think the wounds have healed. I may be ready for a turtle. I'll let you know, but I appreciate the offer. And let's see, Justin, how you doing, man? Thanks. Jeffrey Lane. Yeah, that's interesting. Jeffrey says, I just found out Bush is painting soldiers wounded in Iraq. Ain't that a bitch? Yeah, exactly. Um, Boy, that's a really interesting one. That's one of those stories I bookmarked also, because I have a Bush folder, and there's some other things like I can't remember where it was. It was maybe about a month ago or so. I think it was maybe it was the day Trump was being brought in as prez or whatever it was, but I can't remember. But anyway, Bush was just laughing maniacally and acting like a goofball and dancing around, and you guys may have seen that. It was interesting. So, there's a weird family history with him. His father had worked with the Nazis, and there was Operation Paperclip involved with that side of the family. There's also the weird Aleister Crowley, potentially Aleister Crowley connection to Barbara Bush, that being his daughter, I believe it is. And there's pictures you can see online which are interesting. They blend the two. They blend Aleister Crowley and Barbara Bush, and it's frightening. I mean, just perfect match. Something to think about. There's you can look into that. There's stories online and theories and whatnot, but you should check it out. It's very interesting stuff. And another really interesting fact about the Bushes is that Daddy Bush, Daddy Bush was the first one to call in uh, the day JFK was assassinated. Look that up for yourselves. But he's the guy that made the call, apparently. He was the head of the CIA at the time. So, he's in it. The whole family's in it. And about 8 years ago, 9 years, a long time ago, 10 years ago, there's a video that you can find online. It's Daddy Bush with George Clinton, with Bill Clinton, ex-president Bill Clinton, and Daddy Bush, and they're talking about, I don't know, some whatever. I think it's some kind of a charity they were involved in or something. You can look this up, but it's one of the most amazing captures of a so-called, demonic eye on somebody. It's Daddy Bush. You guys may have seen it. It's been out there for a long time, got millions and millions of views. It's probably been taken down several times, but it's one of the most amazing captures of some really amazing, creepy eye anomaly on Daddy Bush on his left eye. It's very strange. One of the best I've ever seen. Maybe you guys have seen it. I don't know. But if not, you should look it up, open up another window and try to find it. It's amazing. Yeah, Grandpa Bush was a bonesman too. That's right, Skull and Bones. John Kerry was involved as well. Do you remember that? Gosh, what was his name? There was a reporter, Tim something, and you can see clips of him online where he asks both John Kerry and Bush Jr. about Skull and Bones, and it's amazing how awkward the interview gets. It gets really awkward really quick, and they just try to evade the question, and jump off to something else. But you should check that out. And then not long after that, the guy died, had a heart attack. So do you guys know that guy's name, the reporter? Um, Someone said Tim Gunham. Maybe that's it. Thanks. It sounds familiar. Hi, Mia. How you doing? Good to see you. And Innovation HQ, are you prepping for the SHTF, which is the stuff hitting the fan? Oh gosh, kinda. I mean, I've got people I'm close with, and we have some plans, to see where everything goes. Maybe in the future, we'll see. As far as a prepping situation goes, but I'm not stockpiling anything or nothing like that. Not really. I mean, I think it's good for everyone to have some kind of a plan, a place to go. And then if it doesn't hit that point, just each day keep building your life, building your future, and still preparing for something like that anyway, not in a fearful way, but it's just a good idea to always be ready, but not live in fear, find that healthy balance. So let's see who else we got over here tonight. Run to Christ. Hey, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. And see what else you guys got going on in here. And I may just go ahead and jump over here. Trey Dunbar, Game of Lies, Late Show. What does that mean? So I don't know. Hey, American Inquisition, how you doing? Oh, what do I think of all the drama with David Seaman? Gosh, well, I'll be honest with you. Like, this is kind of my whole thing. I was thinking about that. Uh, I've been thinking about that. So, I've been doing this for a long time on YouTube now, like I guess 7 years. Yeah, about 7 years in April, I think. So, making videos and whatnot. And I've seen plenty of what I believe are real psyops that take place in the so-called truth community. When I started, there was no like cohesive truth community on YouTube necessarily. There were 9/11 truthers. That was a big thing. But there were no like, so-called truther communities, especially like, Christian truther communities and things like that. There were just a few channels around back then that I was into that are still around. Zendrius is one, Xendrius. If you know Zendrius, he does a lot of that demon magician stuff and more. That's what's cool. He's also done a lot on uh, fallen angel orbs, UFOs, entities. I love that subject. He's really into that too. So he covers all kinds of stuff, even politics. But the thing I love the most about him is he's always kept it interesting. He's really unique. So him, Freeman was one I remember looking into way back then, and stuff like that. But there was no real truther community or anything. So I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of psyops and whatnot. So, but with David Seaman, I don't know, because the Pizzagate thing, there's a lot of people that were coming out, and I felt like it was a bit of a psyops trying to say, don't look at Pizzagate for whatever reason. And that's not everybody. There's some people that I like on YouTube were saying that stuff too. There's kind of a mix, but I don't know. I didn't trust some of it. It seemed whatever because obviously it's all coming out right now. I mean, I've been compiling stories kind of about this subject to do a bigger video on myself, and it's hard to keep up with. It's like every day, every other day, there's some new huge like pedo ring getting busted or some new pedo symbolism in some TV show or movie or commercial or whatever. It's like now there's that video that somebody put back up online of Demi Moore back when she was, I don't know, 19, 20, something like that. And she's making out with a 14-year-old. It's really awkward, like back in like 82 or something. But stuff like that, so this stuff starts coming out. I mean, there's a pizza Illuminati card, that's for the secret meeting, it says. It's a big slice of pizza. And that was made back in like 93. And we know a lot of the things on the Illuminati card have come out to fruition, so it's that time. I really think it's also a combination of revelation of the method, which is the enemy's way of releasing this kind of stuff on humanity, because they want to normalize it. I know there's people like us who see it for what it is, and we're trying to show it through another lens, that this is truly about good and evil. This is about God, devil, Jesus, all that stuff. Well, the stuff some of us believe, some of you don't. But, you know, it should be becoming more and more clear, that this really is a battle between God and the devil, good and bad, dark and light. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. I know I'm rambling. You're waiting on my answer about semen, but so with all that being said, you know, I was thinking he was doing a really good job. Now I haven't seen any of these exposed semen videos. Well, wait, there's a bunch of those. I have actually seen a bit of maybe one or two. Okay, but I don't know if it changed my mind. That's the thing. I guess I could be wrong, but I felt like he blew up really fast on YouTube, and I was really glad he kept pushing the Pizzagate thing, keeping it out there. Now, maybe I missed something because, like I said, there's a lot of people that think he's a shill, and even people I respect. There's some people I respect that don't trust him. But I don't know. I guess I didn't give it a whole lot of, I don't know. I'm glad. I feel like he was doing good, you know? And I wasn't into the Bitcoin stuff or whatever he talks about and gold and silver. I don't get into any of that. I was just watching some of the Pizzagate things. But anyway, but there's ample evidence out there. It seems, that maybe he's a bad dude. I don't know. Plus, I hate talking bad about people. You know what I mean? Why are you twisting my arm? Why did you get me started? Why did you get me started on this subject? Uh, yeah, if that's not a complicated answer, I don't know what is. I just want to know the truth, just like the rest of you. And I have to go by my instincts sometimes and just think if this is truly serving the greater good. not just with David Seaman, but with anybody, even myself. Are we really doing something good here? Are we really helping to make any kind of change? Or are we in just some echo chamber? Just everyone nodding in agreement. Yes, yes, yes. We don't want that either. That's why I love this community so much. We have such great thinkers here, and we don't all have to agree. We can disagree, but we can agree to disagree and be cool about it. That's a good thing, because they want division. And that's why there's so many weird psyops in this truther communities and Christian truther communities. I just don't like labels. So that's what they do. They divide us up into little groups, and then we have us rip each other apart, like on Survivor, the two tribes. It's all that same idea. You know, pit them against each other, divide them and pit them against each other. So let's see what else we got going on here. Experimental vaccines. Trump administration denies vaccine Commissioner RFK statements. What's up, Knit Diver? John Collins, thanks, man. I appreciate you. Let's see. Shadow. No, I do not celebrate Easter. I know better. I don't celebrate any of these pagan holidays. I'll I'll go see family for Christmas and things like this, but it's just, I don't see it the way a lot of other people do. And Easter, and I don't know. What's up, Dean? Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a long time. Pandora Quinn, great to see you. Been a long time. You had a question, it looked like. Oh, thanks, Pandora. I appreciate you. It's always good to see you, pal. Let's see. Still just kind of looking at the chat. Thanks for your patience. Like I said, we haven't done this in a while. I figured it'd be kind of nice to do. Just to chill and chat. I did a lot of these when I first started the show, and I've mixed it up over the years. Relevant truth. Do I worship Ishtar? There is a movie called Ishtar with Dustin Hoffman. I wouldn't say I worshipped it, but I would have given it 3.5 stars. It was a really goofy comedy, of course, with lots of symbolism as well. And it's an older movie too. What's up, William Jean? How you doing? Twitwit, good to see you. Yeah, I'll be looking for that Easter basket. Hey man, Nicholson 1968, great to see you. No way. He just said, did Chris Putman pass away, I think. Let me scroll that back. And you guys were right. Google Chrome is so much better with this chat. I love it. Sassy Cat, hi. There you are, Nicholson. He said, did Chris Putman pass away? I haven't heard about that. So maybe we can see someone in the chat. I'm going to take a drink here, guys. Yeah, maybe somebody can say something in the chat. Did Chris Putnam die? Otherwise, it's nice seeing you in here, as always, man. I hope you're well. You and the fam. Lee Beasy, man, this is great. 80s baby. Love seeing you guys. Emma's here. It's great, man. Got a good crew here tonight. So I'm still kind of looking at the chat. Oh yeah, I know. V-Town, Woodley, or Wonder Boy. Gosh, that's a tough one. Because now you and I are just going to start. We're going to talk strictly fighting here. Again, I've admitted I don't like sports, but I love watching fights. I just love it. But that was one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life, and I've watched a lot of UFC. V-Town. I don't know if you'll agree or not, but that Woodley Wonder Boy was amazing, and I think they gave it to Woodley, right? So, God, man, I don't know. It's going to be epic. I can usually call it, but these guys are just—they're amazing. They're amazing. Absolutely frightening. So we'll see. I wish I could say. I just don't know. I'm feeling Wonder Boy for some reason that he's gonna get it, but I don't know. We'll see. Marty McFly, what's up? Lori Campbell, how are you? Okay, I'm gonna scroll back a little bit here. I'm not sure. Somebody said Deadpool 2. I don't know what that means. Like the movie? I don't know. Are they making a part? They probably are. That first one was real popular. You know. Ryan's World, how you doing? Hey KJ, what do you think of Polarization Nation Media? I've talked about him before, man. I've always, I don't agree with everything he does and says, but I wouldn't expect that, from anybody, for me either. We all have our own thoughts and may not agree 100% of the time. I've liked some of what he's done, and I was even still watching back when he got locked up there for a bit, and I was kind of watching and waiting on him to get back out, and we follow the story with that. That was interesting stuff, but an interesting dude. But it's just unfortunate because he made a video a while back saying, if you're any of these things, unsub my channel. And a lot of it was like stuff that I am. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm unsubbing. So I unsubbed from him. Have no hard feelings towards him or anything. But if somebody makes a video like that and says, if you are believe in this or if you believe in those things, then unsub from me. And it's like, all right, dude, yeah, I guess I'll unsub. But some of the stuff I saw him do over there was really interesting. I thought, hope that answers your question. Let's see. Still scrolling down here. See what else we got going on. Hi, nice girl. Good to see you. What's up, legendary? Let's scroll back here. Oh, Taylor Escobar says, KJ, check out channel I Spy on YouTube. He shows demons in space on the NASA feed, like behind the astronauts. Thanks. Hey, thanks for the suggestion. Funny thing is, I actually just started watching him a few weeks ago. Somebody else had actually turned me on to that channel, and I think it's very interesting. He'll also do the kind of split screen on people's faces and just kind of change colors and whatnot. You can see all kinds of weird things manifesting in their skin, like faces and demons and diamonds and all kinds of stuff. So it's interesting. I like the way he does his videos too. He keeps them usually pretty short. He's usually not talking or anything. He's just showing you. And so yeah, but thanks for that. Okay, scrolling on down. Never Sky. How did he die? Somebody said. Let's see. Trey Dunbar. I can't tell if you're a troll or not. I hope you're real and you're cool. I got serious stuff here to discuss. Everybody else is just saying something. I don't know what that emoticon is. Let's separate the sheep from the wolves. Route row. Not that I'm into separate, or not that I wouldn't want to separate the sheep from the wolves. I think that's a lot of what I'd do myself. Is kind of try to show that division. But sometimes when people come at you with that phrase, you don't know what their interpretation of it is. You know, like, do you think we're the wolves, or I'm a wolf, or a sheep, or I don't know. Are you cool? Can you just have a conversation, or are you going to be like, screaming and yelling and like being weird? We'll see. We'll see. Because I'm still going down the chat slowly and trying to see what we got here. Justin Duff says, I got baptized by myself when I was 35. It changed my life. You will get the truth whether you like it or not. Just don't baptize into the beliefs of a religion. Well said, sir. Very well said. Hey, Liam. Liam Xmail. Good to see you, man. Let's see. Hi, Marty. Yeah, Kate, he says Stranger Things too. Yeah, exactly, man. I'm looking forward to it just from a few perspectives. I'm a bit of a geek for some of this stuff, and yes, we see the symbols and the signs. That's why I watch some of this. Half the time, I'm looking for what they're really trying to tell us. Sometimes too deep. On some shows that don't deserve it. But still, that's how you do it. But so just from a sci-fi dork kind of point of view, it's going to be great. It's got some horror elements, and the first season was amazing. But yeah, it was filled with stuff. And we talk about duality a lot on my channel and all that symbolism, the as above, so below paradigm and all that. And of course, the Stranger Things too is our world is turning upside down as the camera's spinning upside down. I mean, we keep seeing that all over, so that kind of idea in a lot of different ways. So I want to keep scrolling down here. Danielle Kalar, hi, says, my parents brought me to every Mardi Gras since I was 2. Oh, wow, you poor thing. I can only imagine. She says, talk about overcoming brainwashing. Man, no kidding. That's scary. I'm guessing you made it through safely all those years. That's a good thing. You were being watched over. Vegan Warrior, good to see you, man. James Wolf says, I am a wolf. Now, see, his last name is Wolf with an E. And when he said, I'm a wolf, he spelt that with an E as well. So that's a good one. I get it. Let's see. Still kind of scrolling back here a bit. Knit Diver, hey, I don't know if I got that email. I'm just now getting back, into checking up my messages and stuff, and I've fallen behind a bit. So I'll be looking more. I'm sorry I missed that, but I'll be looking more into that and answering some things on YouTube, and especially once I get these uploads going. I just, if I don't get something up, in a week or so, I seriously feel guilty and I just feel like I got to get it out of me. I feel it building up and I can't help but start obsessing over some of these ideas. So I have to seriously just, just like get it all out in a video. So, I've kind of felt that pressure for the last few days, but that's why in the next few days I'll have, a few coming out. So I'm working on it. But no, it's nice to see you, man. Sorry I missed that. I'll check though. I'll get back to you. Anti NWO Canada is another longtime friend. It's nice to see you. So hope you're well. And now I'm going to keep scrolling down a little bit and see what we got. Ultra Purpose 92. What did you learn from my brother Jonathan Kleck from Tamika Ray? Oh gosh, I just confirmed a lot of things I already felt about him. This was the second time I've hung out with him. I went down and met him and Clay, but I just he's I came back, like over the last few days or whatever, and I actually got on YouTube for a bit and I started watching some of these videos against Jonathan just to see what kind of things they were saying, just because I've met him a few times. I know John, he's a friend. And I'm just rolling my eyes, man. I mean, I can't, some of them are literally labeled like Jonathan Kleck is Illuminati, Illuminati confirmed, Jonathan Kleck. Like they could not be further from the truth, man. This stuff is ridiculous. Like I said, Jonathan and Clay they're real dudes. Jonathan's a family man as well, and good guys all around. And one thing is they really love the truth. They love the Lord. They love the scripture. They study it, the Greek, the Hebrew, the everything. I mean, they absorb it and they're really living it. So it's amazing. Jonathan's also one of the most generous people I've ever known. I've always considered myself pretty generous, but man, he just took it to a whole new level. He's just a really amazing dude like that, I'm telling you. And Clay's just great. Me and him watch really goofy comedy stuff, a little bit here and there when I'm out there. And we like the same bizarro stuff, the same weird comedy stuff. So good guys, real people, truly gifted and working through the Spirit, I believe, of the Lord. And it even blows my mind, some of it, like even some of it I can't fully, whatever, just because I need to study. I admit it, like I said, I need to know the Bible myself. I need to not question so much, whatever, what some of the things are that Jonathan, sees and brings out. It's like I just need to go look for myself. That's what it is, and pray about it and be like, because I'm interested, and be like, Father, show me, and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm conflicted because I understand where some people get scared by things he shows. I understand, but just not everyone's going to have the ears for this stuff. There's going to be division with things like this. The truth is never going to be easy, no matter if it's him or me or any of you out there that share truth on any different level on your channels. It's never going to be easy. If it's too easy, there's a problem. You know what I mean? That's when you need to start wondering what's going on. If it just gets too easy, like I've lost a channel. They put a thing against one of my videos today, but they've taken down dozens of videos off my channel. I've been doing this 7 years. I can't even get up to 400 videos yet. It's not that I haven't, I've surpassed that, but that's how many they've taken down over the years. It's crazy. So we all have our attacks, and I know you guys have yours as well. And then there's all kinds of wacky censorship taking place lately, but it is what it is. So that's the thing. It's not going to be smooth and easy. Not everyone's going to, see the same things or agree on the same things. All I know is, regardless of what Jonathan shows or you show or I show or whatever, all I care about is my personal relationship with God, my personal relationship with Christ, and to seriously learn the word better, and just start bringing it in more. And I've been running from that for a long time, but like I realize that's what I got to do. And I'm going to do it. So there, take that. But anyway, we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, so and from Jonathan, he's just amazing. Like I said, him and Clay, and it's great to be around other people who we can kind of see a lot of the same things, and it's interesting. It's interesting, but there's no brainwashing. There's no you must believe in. It's nothing weird. It's just three brothers that are wide awake and have our own perspectives and feelings on things. We don't all have to fully agree on everything, and that's just how it is. And there's still respect there, you know. So it's nice. It's nice. It's nice. Death by Life, good to see you. Says, hey KG, have you heard of Rob Skiba? Yeah, I know Rob Skiba. I used to I used to watch a lot of his videos on fallen angels and stuff. But then he got into the flat Earth thing, and it's no offense to him or anything, but he lost me on some of that, and that was it. You know. Josh S says, KG, any ideas about the 7 new planets that NASA discovered recently, claiming that they were like Earth and possibly had life? No, I don't know a lot about that, but that's another one of those folders I'm trying to develop because more and more we're getting these stories from NASA. There's a lot of movies coming out there that have come out um, that are about another planet arriving, even a mirrored Earth. Been a few movies about that as well, and I always watch that stuff again because we know that in a lot of ways that's how it works. They'll show things like this in films and TV shows for so many years, and 10 years later it's actually happening, or 5 years later it's actually happening. And then you try to tell people, "Oh my gosh, that was forecast in this," and they're like, "You're crazy," blah blah blah. Or we all just accept it because it's already that reality has already happened in our minds. That's another part of it. We've already accepted that reality in our minds by watching the TV shows, watching the movies, and it's in your subconscious. And then 5 years later, it happens in reality, and then boom, it's just kind of easier to accept. And I sometimes wonder if that's where a lot of the deja vu comes from for people in certain things. Like I know I've seen this before. Oh my gosh. Maybe it was something you were programmed with a long time ago that you've just been triggered to remember. So let's see, scrolling on down, but no, not a lot about that, but I'll look into it, man. Thanks. Orlando. Yeah, man, I am. I'm still not going to release the website yet because there's just a few more touches to make, but I think it's going to finally be ready. And the chat room's on there now too, but I think it'll be ready for sure by next Saturday. I'll do another show, and I'll give it to you guys next week, and it'll be fresh new content, stuff that I'm not able to do on YouTube, but I'm still on YouTube. Like I said, I took a break for about a week, but I've got some videos coming up for the next few days, and I'll just do the both, or do them both, and it'll be good. There's just more freedom on my website because I have no there's no ads on there, so I can put up links, or not links, but like clips of movies and cool music and things like that, and make more videos like that again. I used to do that a long time ago, but those are a lot of the videos YouTube eventually removed from my channel because of copyrights and stuff like this. So anyway, still scrolling down here. um okay, I'm gonna play catch up real quick on the chat and take a drink here, guys. Just 1 second. Okay, let's see. I think I've got pretty much caught up. Got a great crowd tonight. Once again, folks, thanks so much for being here. Nice to see you. Nice to have you around. Mariana, Marinanor says, "What's your opinion on the Doctor Strange movie?" Yeah, I still need to watch it. I'm planning on watching it, but yeah, it's just the stuff I've seen, the trailers and everything. It's obviously filled with occult symbolism. So again, just a part of the revelation of the method. That they weren't ready for a movie like that 10 years ago, but now they can bring it out because so much of this stuff has already been revealed, and now they're revealing even more of it. He's literally a guy that's well schooled in the occult arts and all this stuff, and he's a superhero. kind of based off an Aleister Crowley in a lot of ways. You can look that up. There are some weird connections there. But yeah, so maybe I'll put him in a video sometime or something. I used to do more of this individual, Doctor Strange, Illuminati symbolism, but I've just broken from some of that, because again, it's just we become so inundated with it. There's so much of it out there right now. And it is important, time to time to still show everything, to still reveal truth. But I just feel like we're getting to a new level here. It's time to almost move beyond it. And that's why more and more in my videos, I call it just the beast system, because that's what it is. It's the beast system revealing itself. So, anywho, let me keep scrolling down and see what we got. Hi, Daniel Becker says Steve Quell's videos are all the doom is nigh at hand, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, man, I know. I hate to admit it. I've listened to Steve Quell a lot throughout the years, and I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything, but there was some stuff back in the day out here, and it had me really kind of shaking in my little boots because I thought, it was all over like within a week or a month or whatever. In world, in NWO is attacking America, and there will be this, and there will be whatever, and stuff freaked me out a bit. But it's like the boy who cried wolf thing. We got to be careful when people do that. Maybe it's just his personality. I don't know. Like Alex Jones is like that, constantly pumping fear into you, on everything. And eventually, it wears people out. It's like us. Like I don't even want to. And then they walk away from all of it. Meanwhile, these people are really showing some truth. But the scare tactics thing, when it doesn't work, or kind of the fear buildup stuff or whatever, it just people are smart. They may take it a couple times, you may knock them down a couple times, but after a little bit, they're going to see through it, and they're just going to give up on the whole message of everything. And it's so easy to go back into the matrix. It's so easy to red pill again. Or is it blue pill? I think it's a blue pill again. Yeah. Oh, so let's see here. Scrolling on down. Hope you guys are having a good Saturday night. Thanks again for being here. Hey, look, man, it's into the stars. Great to see you, dude. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're well. Hope life is good. I believe you have a website now. So, guys, check out Casey. Enter the stars. Enter T54RZ, I believe it is. Probably .com. He did not pay me for that endorsement, but Casey and I have been friends for many years. In fact, I just Skyped him the other day asking if he wants to chat sometime. So let's seriously chat sometime. But, good to see you, buddy. Let's see what else we got. Still scrolling down some. Once again, thanks everyone for being here. It's great to see you. Great to see you. Let's see. Oh, nice one. I really do have a website. I'm not kidding, guys. But you know what? I deserve that. Some people are saying, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. But I seriously deserve that because I've been talking about a website for like months now. But I'm not kidding you. I mean, it is seriously like, it's right there. All I've got to do is get one thing fixed. Something was stuck on there and I couldn't upload anything beyond 64 megabytes MB, right? So, and that screwed me on everything I wanted to upload. And that's in the exclusive section on the website where it'll be fresh videos there. I've already got several ready to go, and I'll have more coming up all the time. But that's the one part that's held out. Otherwise, chat rooms there, all the other stuff's there. It's really cool. So I think it's cool. We'll see. But I don't want to release it yet because it's just not ready. I know. I've been saying this forever. But I promise you, for real. My kid's future has an important question because it's all in caps. And here's what he said. Can you get an erection from fear porn? He'll be here all week, folks. Tip your waitress. That's a good one. Let's see. Hi, Kathleen Westover. Nice to see you. Let's see, guys. What else? Still scrolling down. Here in a bit, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about that Obama stuff and see what you think about it. And then I'll CJ, how you doing? CJ Live. Thanks, man. It's a good gig. It's a good idea. Maybe I will. If you hear of anything, let me know. I appreciate it. Let's see what else we got here. Still scrolling down a bit. Daniel Becker. Thanks. Yep. Yeah, good. I'm glad that's the way they should be. I hope my videos are memorable, creepy, but in a good way. Absolutely. Thanks, man. I've got some new ones coming that you'll see. I think they'll be good. I hope. I like my videos. This isn't a narcissistic thing. I don't make videos all the time. I do sometimes big videos with a lot of stuff in them, and I've got one coming up here. But I got a few of those coming up. But I like my videos, and I want other people to like them too because I feel like I'm doing these things for myself. Like I told you, I got to get this stuff out sometimes. So I start putting it together in a way that I think's maybe a little weird, a little unusual, entertaining, strange, but also gets the stuff out there, gets the information out there. And that's something I've always looked for. That's stuff I came up on after I woke up. And I was a film student. I was into sci-fi and horror. Went to film school and everything. And so it all kind of came together. And I'm glad that a lot of you get it. Some people don't. Some people don't. But those of you that do, high five. So scrolling down here, let's see. So Sam Courtney hope says, KJ, hope all is well. I've listened to your videos for a long time and got a lot of them. Thank you. Hey, thank you. Just noticed you were live, so I figured I would drop you a line. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you, Sam. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see here. Dusty Bluetified, thanks. Yes, I promise you, the website's looking good. I just want it to be cool and interesting and weird. And I'm actually going to be doing a lot of things there, but I'm planning on having a daily word. I know I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to have a daily word, like something, I can't even explain yet, but it'll be interesting. And there'll usually be maybe a little story attached to it or something. It'll be in video form. It's something that's making sense in my head, but I won't know what it looks like until I start making it. And then we'll see. It's going to be maybe a bit of a rolling the dice, so to speak, taking a gamble, pushing all in on creativity. But we will see how it turns out. I think it's going to be fun because the most important thing is it'll be the message. And I'm trying to incorporate that more as I learn, so I'm rambling. Unite and Conquer. No, I'm not able to watch it right now. I'll probably watch all that later. So let's see here. Kimoko123 says, how do you save the world? You break it to a point people are desperate and begging for help. Do you think this is the end game? They break everything to a point we're helpless. Well, we do know, at least I believe, what's in the Bible, and there's going to be a time where, Christians will literally be like not just kind of persecuted, they will be that, but be hunted, and killed. And it's not going to be just Christians, it's really going to be anybody in this world who refuses to accept that mark. Now, a lot of people argue over if the mark is more symbolic or more something cerebral or spiritual or whatever. But at the same time, Australia recently released actual, what is it, microchip technology that you can put in your skin and you can, unlock doors and have these kind of quote superpowers. And I covered this in a video a while back because about 4 years ago, that Google exec, I can't remember her name, maybe Susan Wojnowski or something, but she came out with saying, yeah, this is how we're going to sell microchips to the public. You're going to have superpowers and you'll be able to get into your emails and your Facebook and you know what I mean? And now 4 or 5 years later, it's actually happening. Maybe it's 3 or 4 years later. It's actually happening now in real life. So we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of this stuff with, that transhumanism, mark of the beast technology, even a lot of the augmented reality stuff coming at us with Pokemon Go and virtual reality. So, we see that coming together, and if it happens and, the banks go down and everything goes down, and the only way that you can purchase anything or function in society is if you take this mark, whatever form it may come in, then, you're damned. I believe you're damned. Or you can maybe hide, as there'll be people running into the wilderness and things like this and hiding in mountains. Maybe you can just hide till it's over. Or maybe, you got to get the head chopped. I mean, this is what's in the Bible. It's not fun stuff. I know. These aren't bedtime stories. So, yeah. And we know that they've been preparing for this for a long time, especially here in America. There's 13 FEMA regions. You can look that up. It's already ready to roll. NDAA under Obama, the National Defensive Authorization Act, where you can literally be ghosted. They can come get you, take you away, and you'll never be seen again. They can lock you up and do whatever they want to you. Because a lot of us are, I say us, I mean Americans, a lot of us are considered terrorists under the MIAC report, MIAC, look that up. Christians, gun owners, veterans, and conservatives, and the list goes on. And that's just what we know about, So I mean, yeah, they have this. The stage is set, the world is set. I mean, I think in a lot of ways we haven't hit World War III yet, but the world's almost set for that Antichrist leader. And the Pope's making big and obvious moves to bring the churches together, and he's obviously a creepo and working for the enemy at the very least. I mean, so many things are so obvious that show those times that we're in movies, TV shows, all these things glorifying Lucifer at the Super Bowl. Come on, man. You know what time it is. It's been that way for a long time. And it's interesting. And, people think that now that Trump's in, that everything's going to be okay. And, I don't know. Like I say, I live my life day by day. I try not to freak out about all this stuff. I love looking into it. Thanks, Brock. And I love, exploring all these things and trying to figure things out. But I don't live in fear. But I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to go and take a break from the chat for a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this to you, because if you think Obama's done, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Because when Trump took over, it shocked me. I was shocked. I was still reeling from the shock of Trump beating Hillary. And then I figured something may happen in that window before he could actually take office. I know a lot of us were thinking like that. I wasn't sure. I never said for sure this is going to happen or whatever. But I had my doubts, and then it happened, and it's like, wow. So, because a lot of us, see Obama for what it is, I'll say, whether it be the Antichrist or un-Antichrist, but there's enough there to show us that he was connected to that entity somehow, we'll say. And some people may think that's dumb or stupid with two O's. But you got to open your mind and take a look at all the information for yourself. And not everyone's going to see that stuff and understand it. Even the History Channel did that Bible series, and the lead character, the character that played the devil, was basically an Obama lookalike. It's little things like that, that kind of pop out. Just one example of hundreds. He changed his name to Obama, Barack Obama, from Barry Soetoro, so you should look up what the meaning of his name is. So 64 ways Obama is sabotaging Trump. This is from WND.com, and it was written by Garth Kant, K-A-N-T. Compiled by Garth Kant. So let me scroll this down a bit, and we'll check some of this out. Let me take a drink here. So, why is this important? I mean, and how would they do this? How could they do this? Will they try to kill him? They might. They might. We know that's been programmed a lot. Been a lot of people talking about it, some people getting in trouble. I just saw an article a few days ago about a school teacher saying, "Make America great again," with a clean shot to the head. I think he got in some trouble for that. So there's a lot of that stuff going on. There are a lot of people calling for his assassination. on Twitter, and that whole thing's really been out there. I don't know. Maybe they'll do it, legally somehow, or maybe it's as a lot of people have had dreams, prophecies. It's even on some of the money about a tsunami in New York City, about a nuke going off near New York and a tsunami coming through and wiping things out. We know Trump Tower is there, so maybe that'll be the thing that takes Trump out or whatever. And then maybe that's when Obama will, take his place. Because by then, the way that, Soros is funding all these groups, the whole media is against Trump. They're all hating on him and making it seem like the world hates Trump and he's a horrible guy. As much as they do that stuff, maybe that's part of it. Maybe they're trying to program the public for this, get them ready. That way, when this happens, some kind of an event, and Trump and a lot of other people are taken out, that maybe Obama can move right in. The world will be looking for a savior. Maybe. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but maybe. Anyway, here's some of the ways that Obama is still sabotaging Trump. So Obama is using his new mansion just 2 miles from the White House as his headquarters in his insurgency against Trump. Obama's shadow White House was a taxpayer-funded office, a chief of staff, and a press secretary. He's working behind the scenes to set up a shadow government to protect his legacy and sabotage the incoming administration. A family force said Obama was reluctant to lead the opposition to Trump because he was weary and burned out, but top advisor Valerie Jarrett convinced him it was the only way to salvage his legacy. The source said Obama doesn't make a decision without her, and he has now embraced his new role leading the campaign to sabotage the administration because he loathes Trump, whose presidency he considers illegitimate. To guide and counsel Obama, Jarrett has moved into his 8,200 square foot, $5.3 million mansion. According to the source, Michelle Obama and Jarrett will now strategize to topple Trump. The former First Lady and the Obama Foundation will both have offices in the mansion, and presumably Jarrett will too. Obama will implement his plans through a network of leftist nonprofits led by Organizing for Action, or OFA, the organization that grew out of his campaign group, Organizing for America. And that will give Obama a virtual army of agitators and organizers at his disposal. Federal tax records show OFA has 32,500 volunteers nationwide, and another 25,000 are actively under training. Okay, still scrolling down here. Just some interesting bits to think about here, I think. Sorry, man, the page is running slow here. Man, this website's got a lot of pop-ups here. Okay, so OFA has more than 250 offices across the country. OFA is equipped with Obama's 2012 campaign database, which it will use to rally resistance to Trump and to get out the vote for Democratic Party candidates. OFA is registered as a social welfare nonprofit 501c that doesn't have to disclose to its donors. OFA has raised more than $40 million in contributions and grants since 2013. OFA volunteers are professionally trained organizers who go through a 6-week training program that includes Alinsky agitation tactics. OFA is run by ex-Obama officials and staffers. It also plans to stage 400 rallies across 42 states this year to attack Trump's effort to repeal Obamacare. Obama appeared to be behind anti-Trump protests. He praised demonstrations against Trump's travel ban, and after the election, he personally rallied OFA troops to protect his legacy in a conference call. Now is the time for some organizing, he said, so don't mope over the election results. After Trump's victory, Obama also promised OFA activists that he would soon join them in the battle. He said, understanding that I'm going to be constrained in what I do with all of you until I am again a private citizen, but that's not so far off, he said. You're going to see me early next year, and we're going to be in a position where we can start cooking up all kinds of great stuff. That's kind of creepy. He also said, I promise you that next year, Michelle and I are going to be right there with you, and the clouds are going to start parting, and we're going to be busy. I've got all kinds of thoughts and ideas about it, but this isn't the best time to share them. That's interesting, considering if he is the Antichrist, the fact he says, and I I promise you that next year, Michelle and I are going to be right there with you, and the clouds are going to start parting, right? No, number 19. Since the election, OFA has added staff and accelerated its recruitment of liberal activists. OFA promises to fight Trump on illegal immigration, Obamacare, race relations, and climate change. Some of the anti-Trump marches organized by the OFA across the country turned into mass riots. They're also distributing a training manual to anti-Trump activists. I mean, you can see where this is going, right? It's the army of the New World Order, it seems like, right? The manual is published with OFA newly formed partner Indivisible and advises protesters to go to town halls held by GOP lawmakers, blend in first, and then protest. They're also working with Indivisible to conduct online training for protesters. Still scrolling down a bit here. Sorry, this page is lame. I'm going to jump around a little bit here too. All right, thanks for your patience, guys. There's just a bunch of pop-ups on this website here, this WND. Okay, so I'm jumping ahead a bit here. There's an audio recording obtained by a Louisiana radio station documented that progressive activists plotted to take over a town hall meeting held by Senator Bill Cassidy, who's a Republican from Louisiana. Activists were instructed to dress like conservatives and leave at home any signifier that you're a liberal in order to blend in. And again, this is the group that Obama's going to be working with and the one he seems to be directing. The station identified one of the voices on the recording as James Proctor, a leader of Indivisible Academia, a local branch of the National Individual Organization, which has organized hostile Republican town halls all around the country. Protesters were advised to send video footage to local and national media. Unfavorable exchanges caught on video can be devastating for Republican lawmakers, the manual said, when shared through social media and picked up by local and national media. Protesters gave networks footage of their confrontations with Chaffetz, forcing him to issue statements defending himself. A study by the Media Research Center found that 88% of the broadcast news coverage of the Trump administration was hostile during the first 30 days of office. The study analyzed both tone and content for evening newscasts on ABC, NBC, and CBS. A script in the training manual advised callers to complain, saying, "I'm honestly scared that a known racist and anti-Semite will be working just feet from the Oval Office. It is everyone's business if a man who promoted white supremacy is serving as an advisor to the president." But the document provided no evidence to support these accusations. The manual also advised protesters to flood lawmakers' offices with phone calls and emails demanding the resignation of top White House advisor Steve Bannon. Protesters also stormed Republicans' district offices. Representative Dana Rorschbacher, Republican, blamed a mob of anti-Trump activists for knocking unconscious a 71-year-old female staffer at his Southern California office. And talk show host Rush Limbaugh said he was certain the former president and elements of the Democratic Party were behind the protests because they had been too organized and too professional to be random eruptions of grassroots discontent. Obama, George Soros money, I'm certain, is involved, he said. They also discuss how to play up the media, and they illustrate that the media is not very hard to convince. The media is on their side. The media is only too eager to cooperate, as we know. Trump agreed Obama was probably behind the protests. Well, you never know what's exactly happening behind the scenes, Trump said. You know, you're probably right, or possibly right, but you never know. No, I think that President Obama is behind it because his people are certainly behind it. And some of the leaks possibly come from that group. You know, some of the leaks which are really very serious leaks because they're very bad in terms of national security. But I also understand that's politics. And in terms of him being behind things, that's politics. And it will probably continue. Still scrolling down here. Come on, man. Way too many pop-ups. They got too many dumb windows where like movie or commercials just start kicking in if you dare go over it with your arrow. It's like Okay, still scrolling down here a bit. So OFA, there's 64 of these. I don't think I'll do them all. I'm just kind of bounced around and trying to get around some of these ads. OFA is working with the Obama Foundation, run by Obama's former political director, and the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, launched recently by Obama former Attorney General Eric Holder, to end what he and Obama called GOP gerrymandering of congressional districts and to try to redraw the districts in a way more favorable to Democrats to increase their members in Congress. Holder said he had discussed Obama fundraising for the NDRC and interacting with state lawmakers on the group's behalf. Spokesman Jared Leopold described the tax-exempt NDRC as a supergroup that brings together the efforts of the Democratic Governors Association, the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee, and House Majority. Okay. On Tuesday, Holder promised Democrats that Obama is getting ready for a public return to politics. It's coming. He's coming, Holder said while discussing NDRC, which Obama asked him to chair last year. And he's ready to roll and will be more visible part of the that makes no sense. And will be much more visible throughout this effort, Holder added. Okay. Seems legit. But right there it is too. It's like it's coming. He's coming. That's the first thing Holder said about Obama coming back. It's coming. And then he's coming. it. Obama signaled his intention before leaving the White House last fall, saying that his post-presidency focus would be on General Assembly races and redistricting after the 2020 census, trying to recapture some of the enormous number of seats Democrats lost at the state level during his presidency. Obama said in September, "Once out of office, I'm going to stop being polite and start getting real." Obama hinted that he planned to start speaking out more like an activist than a president. "There are things," he said in an interview, "that in some ways I suspect I'm able to do better out of the office." He elaborated that because of the institutional constraints of the presidency, there are things I cannot say. Obama went on to essentially say he would be an activist after leaving office. "There are institutional obligations I have to carry out that are important for a president of the United States to carry out, but may not always align with what I think would move the ball down the field on the issues that I care most deeply about," he said. Then, in his final news conference as president, Obama vowed to take action if President Trump dared to, quote, "round up children of illegal immigrants, or roll back voting rights, or engage in, quote, systemic discrimination." So the narrative is already being set, you know? Still scrolling down here, trying to avoid those dumb pop-up, whatever they are. Obama also indicated he would take a more activist role to defend core values that may be at stake under a Trump administration. "The reason that we are the only country among advanced democracies that makes it harder to vote. It traces directly back to Jim Crow and the legacy of slavery," he said. God, man, these guys, they're such race baiters. That's all they do. I know I'm beyond that false left-right paradigm, but still, they play their roles. And ugh. These liberals nowadays, it's always the racist thing or misogyny or whatever. It's just low hanging fruit, right? That they've used before. I mean, nothing's new. I'm gonna take a drink, guys. Hold on 1 second. Just another second, more like 30 seconds. I've been going for over an hour, so I'm gonna just take not quite a minute. I'll say that. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I also wanted to say happy birthday to B Felt. Been a great friend here on YouTube for a long time, a sub. I know today is his birthday, so happy birthday, man. Thanks for sharing a part of it was with us tonight. Okay, I appreciate you. I also appreciate the rest of you, man. We got a great crowd. It's always nice to see everybody. We appreciate you being here. It's Saturday night, 8:11 p.m. Central Time, and this is the news. Okay, now I'm going to keep going though. We're talking about the different ways that Obama is sabotaging Trump, and the way I see it is the different ways that Obama is trying to uh, not really just stay relevant, but you know, put himself in a power position. It's interesting. So Obama warned Trump not to roll back his executive actions. During his campaign for president, Trump promised to cancel every unconstitutional executive action, memorandum, and order issued by President Obama. Obama also lectured Trump about the use of executive orders, telling the incoming president to avoid taking unilateral action. The Obama administration apparently spied on Trump's presidential campaign and transition team. Senator Orrin Hatch from Utah said he was concerned by the extent of surveillance, but not completely surprised because he suspected that they were going to do that anyways. Some sources have been feeding information to the New York Times suggesting that Trump campaign colluded with Russian officials, including intelligence agents. You guys know about all that, of course. A lot of weird fake news stuff. And now somebody put out a picture of I think it was Chuck Schumer hanging out with Putin. I mean, ugh, they just it's every angle this kind of goofy stuff comes, right? But then they got the fake news narrative out there, and they want you. It's part of what I'm putting into this video, but that one of the first one I'll drop in here probably tomorrow. But they want us to be that way. They want you to just basically give up and stop thinking. They hit us from every angle, and they're literally turning our world upside down. The Obama administration, in the last days of their administration, some White House officials scrambled to spread information about Russian efforts to undermine the presidential election and about possible contacts between associates of President elect Donald J. Trump and Russians across the government. Still scrolling down. Almost there. Still a few more of these. I think these are interesting, though. It's a lot of stuff, it's a lot of confirmations. Those sources from the Obama administration claimed Trump's statements stoked fears among some that intelligence could be covered up or destroyed or its sources exposed once power changed hands. So they reportedly pushed to preserve the alleged intelligence. Obama White House officials took steps to ensure that as many people as possible inside government could see the intelligence. The sources claim to suspect the Trump campaign might have colluded with Russia on election email hacks, but the Times also reported that American officials acknowledged there is no confirmation of that. The Times reported some officials began asking specific questions at intelligence briefings, knowing the answers would be archived and could be easily unearthed by investigators, including the Senate Intelligence Committee, which in early January announced an inquiry into Russian efforts to influence the election. Intelligence agencies kept the reports at a relatively low classification level to ensure as wide a readership as possible across the government, and in some cases among European allies. There is also an effort to pass reports and other sensitive materials to Congress. In the weeks before the assessment was released in January, the intelligence community combined or combed through databases for an array of communications and other information and began producing reports that showed there were contacts during the campaign between Trump associates and Russian officials. However, the Times acknowledged the nature of the contacts remains unknown, and several of Trump's associates have done business in Russia, and it was unclear if any of the contacts were related to business dealings. Still scrolling down. There you go. That's it. So 64 ways Obama is sabotaging Trump. We got the majority of them. I'm going to close that window real quick, though. It's got a bunch of different goofy ads that keep popping up. And we are doing a live show. And so far, it's been pretty smooth, I think. Thanks, Rosanna. How are you? Good to see you. So let me go ahead and scroll back a little bit, see how y'all are doing in the chat, and see what you are thinking. Debbie C said, KJ, this politics stuff can drive a person crazy. Chill! Exclamation point. Well, yeah, but we kind of mix it up, Debbie. And, some people need to hear this stuff. It's not just politics. Unfortunately, this could be beyond just politics, but one of the ideas could be this could literally be the way that the Antichrist, a lot of people believe is the Antichrist. I'm just going with that, but let's say this could actually be the way the Antichrist is going to, take his throne, so to speak, or step up on the world stage. I see it beyond just the political side of that. When dealing with Obama, I mean, all of them, there's usually some kind of symbolism or Masonic symbolism with a lot of these presidents and politicians, but I think it's interesting. And I never do videos on politics. It's not something I'm usually into, but I think this is something to watch, you know? So I'm sorry you're mad at me, Debbie C. I tried. Yeah, I gave it my best. You know, maybe you'll like the next subject we get into or something. Willful today, how are you? Good to see you. Cody English, nice to see you there. And let's keep on scrolling down here and see what we got. Still scrolling down. Good to see everybody. Got a great crowd, man. Appreciate it. Got a great crowd tonight. Always do. It's not, not bragging. It's just we got so many great people here every week, and so many of you I recognize. We've been around. You've been around the channel for a long time, and we've communicated back and forth on here, and I really appreciate you. Thanks, Richard Allison. How are you, man? Good to see you. So still scrolling down, see if anybody's got any subjects. If not, there's something else I was going to share with you guys I thought was interesting. I could see what you guys think about that here in a little bit. I'll go ahead and tell you what the title is. Spoiler alert. There's a couple of them. One of them is 10 Strange and Controversial Biblical Prophets. I was going to read to you the 10 strange and controversial biblical prophets. I thought that was an interesting one. So I'll deliver that here shortly. But let's see, I'm going to keep scrolling down a bit. JH was asking what I was reading from. I mentioned it in the author at the beginning of it, but it was from WND.com, 64 Ways Obama is Sabotaging Trump is the name of the article. So still scrolling down here a bit, see what we got. If not, I'll go ahead and read that to you. Cool? Is that good? If you don't like that, then in the words of, I believe it was Newton, cash me outside, how about that? So still scrolling down here and just checking out the chat. Nice to see everyone once again. Sometimes I get caught up in your conversations as well. Hey, thanks, Bob. Nice to see you, man. And all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and read that to you. I think it's interesting. It's a cool article I was checking out recently just for some research. And I was thinking this would be something really good I could share with you guys. I think it's a subject you dig. Hi, Jules Believer. Good to see you. Mia Meezy. Rich Burns. How are you? He says, what's my honest vibe on Trump? Ugh, I don't know, man. Look, I've said it like as long as he's really doing good stuff, I think it's great. As long as he's fighting against the New World Order, and we'll see. I take it day by day, but sometimes I wonder if that wall they're going to build, I mean, they seem to really be moving forward with this idea, but I sometimes wonder if the wall they're going to build isn't so much going to be used to keep people out, but ultimately to keep us in, and I did see a clip where a pastor was asking him if he ever prays to God for forgiveness, and he couldn't. He just kept stumping over his words and stuttering, and looked kind of stumped, and he didn't admit to it. He said he didn't feel he needed to, and that was kind of a bummer. And plus, his favorite pastor or whatever is a Freemason. He's a high level Mason, so I see stuff like that, and it's just the stuff that I gravitate towards, that's my understanding of things when I see those things. So, and it's a bummer and it makes me wonder. However, it's funny you say that. I also pulled up a story I thought was interesting called 10 Unlikely People God Used to Accomplish His Will. And it goes to show you that, sometimes God can use really wicked people to do wonderful things. So it could be both. What if Trump really is controlled opposition somehow? Or, you know, what if it's all just part of the show, but God's still ultimately in control of everything and will use him to do some good things? You know, I don't know. Or what if the nuke's coming? I've covered that one. A lot of other people covered it too, but there's a lot of symbolism for that. The tidal wave, Jay-Z's Tidal, even music company. I thought that was interesting when he chose that, considering all the visions and dreams and symbolism out there on tidal waves, specifically around the East Coast and New York, and nukes being involved. The Economist cover, we've seen some of that there too. And so maybe the nuke's coming. Maybe the tidal wave is coming. It's on the money. Everything else has happened on the money. 9/11, OKC bombing. So not everything, but some key things. And after those things, the New World Order took several steps up after those events. It, it helped fund more things in the government and more police state. And, after 9/11, Homeland Security was created, the largest branch of the federal government ever created, I might add. So you see their plans. So could the final 9/11 be? Also, the Hoover Dam seems to be a spot for this as well, for part of the ritual, the next occult ritual, the next 9/11. So is the dam going to bust? There's also a lot of symbolism with that as well. And there's a lot of symbolism at the Hoover Dam and all around it. Will it, will it just be chaos? Will a lot of things happen at the same time? So the dam busting, Hoover Dam, the nuke coming, the tsunami in New York, Trump being taken out, the financial districts being taken out. Everything goes crazy. Then America's attacked because she's weak. The people will be begging for a leader. And maybe Obama's going to be the man that saves them. I mean, that'll be the story, and that's how it'll play out. But Obama's going to step up and stop the Russians. Obama's going to step up and stop the Chinese. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen. Just thinking out loud here. Hi, Illuminati. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people are pushing the nuke hoax narrative. But you know what? We're not going to know until some of these things come to pass. And by the time they do, there's going to be no time for us to tell you we told you so. It's going to be pretty quick. So we'll see. I don't live in fear of it, but I do believe that, as in the days of Noah, the only difference is it's not going to be water this time, it's going to be fire. It's coming. Jesus isn't coming back for hugs. He's coming with a sword. It's not going to be fun. Well, depending on where you're at and what side you've chosen. Yeah, fire and brimstone. Yay. Yuck. Hey, Devin is asking me about sigil magic. I cover sigil magic a lot, man. I put that in a lot of my videos. That's really what symbolism is anyway. A lot of the time, it's has to do with the intention they put on the sigil. Foster Bailey and Alice Bailey talked a lot about that. They're famous occultists. I've showed in videos the way I see it, but like the black screen TVs, the new smart TVs and the black screens on your phone and all this. I've shown connections to scrying mirrors. It's just whole other realities are opening up before you, and how much of that reality that's opening before us in both of those scrying mirrors is really good for us. Most of it's not. We can navigate if we're, use our logic, our reason, our common sense, our critical thinking. Most importantly, I think our spiritual discernment, but other little mystical realities, virtual realities. And there's so much programming in there. Yeah, Black Mirror, exactly. The TV show Black Mirror as well. Um, yeah, hey Liam. Yeah, man, I did. I saw Iron Sky, and I think they made an Iron Sky 2 where they ride on flying dinosaurs or something. So I'm gonna have to watch that. But there was a lot of interesting symbolism there as well. I think some people have covered that. Uh, Iron Sky has to do with Nazis, space Nazis, Nazis in space. It's very interesting. But shows like that, a lot of the time, to me, they're revealing real information. We know that the Nazis are big into the occult. Um, I think it was called the Velixi. They had a spaceship that they'd created. I think they were called the Velixis. I'm not sure, guys. Sounds right to me. There's a lot of really crazy things with those guys, and sometimes these movies come out and just make it kind of a goofball, laughable type thing. Meanwhile, they're revealing real truth to you. And then, when somebody tries to approach someone who's been conditioned by all this media and entertainment and say, hey, man, do you ever hear about the Nazis doing this? Or, whatever, dude, I saw that movie. I mean, that's just part of that, you know? The Space Nazis is kind of a goofy movie. I even saw an advertisement. I didn't check it out. Y'all could look this up, but it was like a movie. I believe it was a movie, and it was called Look or Guess Who's Back. Look Who's Back or Guess Who's Back. Fairly new within the last year or two, but it looks like a wacky comedy where they brought Hitler like to now, maybe through time travel or something, and it just looks like a goofy teenage romp, with Hitler, and stuff's sick. It's sickening. But this is the kind of stuff they do. They just make it all goofy and funny and silly. I don't know. Um, let's see what else we got here. Scrolling down. Sorry if I missed some people. Yeah, Illuminat. Wasn't Illuminat me, it was Illuminat. Yeah, I'm checking out chat. I fall behind a bit sometimes, but I do the best I can. Let's see. Thanks, Marcy Lynn. Nice to see you too, by the way. I haven't seen you in such a long time. Maybe I haven't noticed. Sorry if you've been on here. Let's see. Still scrolling down a bit. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and I want to read one of these to you. It's really cool stuff. And it's this article here is called 10 Strange and Controversial Biblical Prophets. And see what you guys think about this. So I'm bringing this up. Give me 1 second, guys. Or actually, I always say 1 second, and you and I both know it's not really going to be 1 second. But let's take, for me, like just a minute break. Okay, I'll be back in like just a minute. And this is a good chance for you to pet your puppies, hug your kittens, um, fix a drink. I don't know, whatever you're into. Okay. And I'll be back in about a minute. And this is Catching Up with KG, episode number 63. Thanks. So this comes to us from a website called listverse.com. Listverse, VRSE.com. And this article is called 10 Strange and Controversial Biblical Prophets. This is the first time I've been on this website. I found this article not long ago and I thought it was interesting. I wanted to share. So I don't know where they're at on things. I don't know the bent they take necessarily on this. I checked them out earlier. I thought it was really cool. So I'm going to read it to you. And I don't know. Again, I don't know if, like I said, if they have an agenda here or anything. They seem like they're being pretty straightforward. So without further ado, let's get started. It's no secret that Ezekiel is perhaps the weirdest book in the Bible. With its strange visions and explicit sexual language, some rabbis instructed that the book shouldn't be read by any Torah student under the age of 30. Ezekiel himself was among 10,000 Jewish captives taken to Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar. He was from the tribe of Levi, and God called him to be a prophet around 593 BC. Ezekiel's trances and visions of wheels with eyes, and four-faced creatures with human hands and wings, and strange crystalline architectures in the sky were so intense that it has been seriously suggested he suffered from schizophrenia or some other form of psychosis. And the style of Ezekiel's preaching was almost as unusual as its content. After starting his prophetic career by eating a scroll given to him by God, Ezekiel developed a penchant for bizarre and dramatic symbolic acts. Okay, scrolling down. Scrolling down with KJ. Sorry, it's another one of those websites with like tons of pop-up ads and stuff. Okay, so after starting his prophetic career by eating a scroll given to him by God, Ezekiel developed a penchant for bizarre and dramatic symbolic acts. These included lying on his side for 430 days to symbolize the number of years the people of Israel and Judah had spent in sin. To warn the people of their impending destruction, he cut off his hair and beard using a sword, burned a third of it, and threw a third of it into the wind, and hacked the remaining third to pieces, only saving a few hairs in his garment. On another occasion, Ezekiel had a vision ordering him to cook his food over human excrement to symbolize the desperate state the Jews would be reduced to. This proved too much for even Ezekiel, who managed to persuade God to let him use cow dung instead. But perhaps the most shocking passage tells of how Ezekiel refused to mourn his beloved wife's death. Wise to his act, the people quickly asked what his weird behavior had to do with it. You probably hear that. Wise to his act, the people quickly asked what his weird behavior had to do with them. Ezekiel responded that greater suffering was in store than the loss of his wife and advised that the people should bear it bravely without giving in to grief. One of those things started up. I can hear it. There's some ad playing. Give me a second. Dang, guys, come on. I mean, I get ads. I get having ads, but I mean, these things are so annoying. Like every other paragraph is one of those videos just waiting for you to scroll next to, and then just kicks on. You know what I mean? Anyway, number 9, the naked truth. These are 10 strange and controversial biblical prophets. Number 9. Isaiah is widely regarded as one of the greatest and most influential biblical prophets, which makes it even stranger that God once instructed him to strip off and wander through Jerusalem naked and barefoot. To make things even worse, he had to stick to his unusual style of preaching for 3 whole years. Fortunately, God wasn't just playing a prophetic prank, but was using Isaiah to make a very serious point. The Assyrian Empire was looming ominously, prompting the people of Judah to rely on the protection of Egypt and Ethiopia. But Isaiah warned that the Assyrians would reduce those mighty nations to the same state as him. So shall the king of Assyria lead away the Egyptians prisoners, and the Ethiopians captives, young and old, naked and barefoot, even with their buttocks uncovered, to the shame of Egypt. Sure enough, the Assyrians triumphed, showing the foolishness of relying on worldly powers rather than on God. Scrolling down. Admittedly, that point could possibly have been made without making Isaiah walk around nude for 3 years. However, some scholars have argued that Isaiah wasn't actually completely naked, but merely without his, quote, outer robe, leaving him sporting a short tunic worn near the body. Fair enough. That's number 9. Number 8, the doubting prophet. The typical image of a prophet includes an iron faith in the will of the Lord, but the prophet Habakkuk often found himself questioning just what God was thinking. In fact, while most prophets relayed God's word to the people, Habakkuk was more concerned with relaying the people's questions to God. The short book of Habakkuk starts with the prophet reaching the end of his tether and demanding some answers. He says, "How long, Lord, must I call for help? but you do not listen, or cry out to you, violence, but you don't save. Why do you make me look at injustice? Why do you tolerate wrongdoing? God responded to Habakkuk, but completely ignores the questions and just says he's going to let the Babylonians devastate the region. Inexplicably, that doesn't satisfy Habakkuk, who essentially repeats his earlier complaints and then announces he'll be camping on the city walls until he gets some proper answers. Impressed by the prophet's passion, God speaks again. Scrolling down. He explains that people can make their own choices in life, but that everyone will eventually face a day of judgment for their actions. In a lengthy speech, God calls out everyone from violent empires like Babylon. Has not the Lord Almighty determined that the people's labor is only fuel for the fire, that the nations exhaust themselves for nothing? For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. To rapists, woe to him who gives drink to his neighbors, pouring it from the wineskin till they are drunk, so that he can gaze on their naked bodies. You will be filled with shame instead of glory. Now it's your turn. Drink and let your nakedness be exposed. This answer satisfies Habakkuk, and his book ends with a lengthy passage praising God. Number 7, a doomed prophetic marriage. The book of Hosea isn't the most popular segment of the Bible, as its content can be a bit hard to chew. Among other things, it kicks off with God ordering Hosea to marry the most promiscuous woman he can find. For like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord. Hosea obediently marries a woman named Gomer, who presumably didn't mind the worst proposal in history. Gomer eventually has 3 children. The Bible only specifies that Hosea was the father of the oldest, and it quickly becomes clear that God intends to continue using the family to convey his irritation with the people of Israel. He tells Hosea to name the oldest son Jezreel, for I will break Israel's bow in the valley of Jezreel. The youngest daughter is dubbed Lo Ruhamah, which means not loved, for I will no longer show love to Israel. Gomer's youngest son is slightly luckier than Lo Ruhamah, with God telling Hosea to call him Lo Ami, not my people, for you are not my people and I am not your God. The book then describes how God metaphorically breaks up with Israel, for she is not my wife and I am not her husband, and vows to, quote, punish her for the days she burned incense to the Baals. Meanwhile, Gomer leaves Hosea to live with another man. But the story ends on a hopeful note, with God urging the prophet to forgive his wife. The couple reconcile and pledge to be faithful to each other. As for God and Israel, I am now going to allure her. I will lead her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. There I will give her back her vineyards, and I will make the valley of Achor a door of hope. There she will respond as in the days of her youth, as in the day she came up out of Egypt. In other words, God will always be willing to love and forgive his people no matter what their sins. Interestingly enough, the story of Hosea and Gomer seems to directly contradict Leviticus 20:10, which calls for adulterers to be stoned to death. Scrolling down. These are the 10 strange and controversial biblical prophets. This is number 6, the Gentile prophet. Elijah is one of the most famous biblical figures. Among other things, he was the first prophet to raise a dead person and was eventually taken up to heaven in a, quote, whirlwind. The Bible once refers to him as the Tishbite from Gilead, which has led some commentators to suggest that he might have been a non Jewish Gentile by birth. Tishbe can be translated as stranger. So this theory doesn't hold much water since it's much more likely that he was from the town of Tishbe and Elijah is a Jewish name anyway. But that doesn't really mean that there are no Gentile prophets in the Bible. The book of Numbers features an enigmatic figure named Balaam, Balaam, a non Israelite prophet who actually ends up working against Moses and the Jews. Balaam enters the narrative in Numbers 22 when the Israelites arrive in Moab on their long journey to the Promised Land. Naturally, this alarms King Balak of Moab, who sends messengers asking Balaam to curse the invaders, quote, "For I know that whoever you bless is blessed, and whoever you curse is cursed." God tells Balaam to refuse the request since the Jews are his chosen people and he's not going to put a curse on them. But Balak keeps offering more money, and God eventually agrees to let Balaam go see the king in person. Balaam and the king offer 3 sacrifices to God, but each time God responds through Balaam with a blessing for the Jews instead of a curse. Naturally, the king is furious, but Balaam tells him he can only speak the words God gives him. The king must have been really unhappy with that answer, because Balaam apparently did give some advice of his own. A later passage mentions that he told the king to tempt the Israelites into sinning, thereby causing God to be angry with them and removing their special protection. Ironically, this sinful advice probably had the same effect on Balaam, and Numbers 31:8 briefly mentions that he was killed during a battle between the Israelites and the Midianites. Scrolling down. The next is going to be number 5. It's going to be the prophetic ghost. So we got 5 more to go. Good time for me to take another quick 1-minute break. I'm going to grab a drink and I'll BRB, as the kids say. Let's be right back. These are the 10 strange and controversial biblical prophets. This is number 5. The prophetic ghost. The story of King Saul and the witch of Endor is one biblical passage that raises more questions than it answers, prompting all sorts of theological and moral dilemmas. After the death and burial, after the death and burial, why am I having trouble with burial, of the prophet Samuel in Ramah, the Philistines gathered their entire army ready to attack Israel. Terrified, Saul sought advice from God but received no answer. So Saul decided to force the matter and ordered his servants to find him a witch. Ruh-roh. This can't end well. So I'm going to scroll down a bit past one of those ads. All right, almost there. This was difficult, since Saul had previously launched a campaign to wipe out all witches and magicians in the land of Israel. But a spirit medium of some sort was eventually discovered in Endor, and Saul decided to visit her in disguise. At Saul's bidding, the unnamed woman apparently summoned the ghost of Samuel. The prophet, however, was unimpressed and proceeded to berate Saul for bothering him and for disobeying God by consulting a witch. The prophetic ghost then predicted Saul's death in battle the next day. And sure enough, Saul and his family were all promptly killed by the Philistines. That's crazy, man. Of course, the Bible strictly forbids witchcraft, so it's no surprise that Saul was punished. What is puzzling is that the woman of Endor apparently succeeds in communicating with Samuel. This suggests that magic might actually be real in Christianity, to the point that a witch can have power over the spirit of a prophet, even though this doesn't gel at all with the rest of the Bible. So, according to the Bible, all power stems from God, and God reviles witches. So, why would he allow them the power to raise the dead? Good question. On the other hand, scholars have long noted that the witch reacts with surprise and alarm when Samuel actually shows up. So, this might suggest that she was a con artist who didn't really expect the seance to work. Instead, God decided to send Samuel's spirit down to call Saul out for his sinfulness and lack of faith. I love that. If that's really the way it happened, it shows God's got a really cool sense of humor, you know. But the Bible doesn't spell that out, so the exact meaning of the passage remains a matter of debate. Number 4, the xenophobic prophet. Scrolling down, getting past those pop-ups. Almost. Nehemiah was governor of Jerusalem during the Persian rule in 444 BC. The book of Nehemiah is a first person account of his attempts to rebuild Jerusalem both physically and spiritually. One of his key achievements was the completion of the city walls in a mere 52 days. Soon after the walls were done, Nehemiah left for Persia to report to King Artaxerxes, Artaxerxes, anyway, and probably brag about his awesome wall building skills. When Nehemiah finally returned to Jerusalem, he was greeted with some bad news. During his absence, some of the Jews had married foreign women from Ashdod, Moab, and Ammon. As a result, their mixed children couldn't even speak Hebrew. Incensed by this intermarriage, Nehemiah had a meltdown and began hurling curses at the culprits. When this wasn't enough, he started pulling out their hair and beating them. Eventually, the men could bear it no longer and agreed to take an oath, agreeing that they were, quote, not to give your daughters in marriage to their sons, nor are you to take their daughters in marriage for your sons or for yourselves, unquote. This seemed to calm Nehemiah down, and he ended his book with a boast that he purified the priests and the Levites of everything foreign. Ironically, the short tempered Nehemiah's name actually means comforted by Yahweh. Interesting. Number 3, the resentful prophets. As far as Old Testament resumes go, Moses blows everyone else out of the water. He cheated death when he was merely an infant, grew up in the house of the Pharaoh, became a prince of Egypt, then a fugitive, and eventually a shepherd. As if that wasn't enough, he then reemerged as a prophet and dared to challenge the Pharaoh, the most powerful man in the world at the time. Naturally, he won and led his people through the wilderness to the promised land, although he didn't quite make it there himself. In fact, Moses is such a dominant figure that it's easy to forget that there were two other prophets helping to lead the Jews through the Exodus, his siblings Aaron and Miriam. And the two minor prophets weren't exactly happy to be overshadowed. According to the book of Numbers, Aaron and Miriam eventually decided to challenge their brother's authority, asking, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us as well? And they also objected to the fact that Moses was married to a woman from Cush, Ethiopia, which was exactly the sort of interracial union that would have sent Nehemiah into a frenzy. Unfortunately for the disgruntled prophets, God quickly stepped in to back Moses up. Appearing in a, quote, pillar of cloud, the Lord pointedly reminded Aaron and Miriam that he had only appeared to them in dreams, whereas Moses was allowed to speak to him in person. God then departed, inflicting Miriam with a skin disease on the way out. This frightened Aaron, and he begged Moses to intercede on their behalf. After his favorite prayer for mercy, God agreed to forgive his rebellious prophets and heal Miriam. Oddly, only Miriam was punished by God, making the incident the second time Aaron got away with disregarding his brother's authority after infamously building a golden calf for the Jews to worship while Moses was on Mount Sinai. Number 2, the malevolent prophet. The name Jonah means dove in Hebrew, but the prophet Jonah is nowhere near as sympathetic as that would suggest. In fact, he might be the strangest prophet in the Bible, since he rarely seems to agree with his instructions from God. According to the book of Jonah, the prophet was ordered on a mission to Nineveh, an Assyrian city known for its wickedness. Famously, Jonah disobeyed this divine command and instead tried to get as far away from Assyria as possible. Unamused, God had him swallowed by a, quote, huge fish until he agreed to get with the program. Once Jonah finally arrived in Nineveh, his words were so touching that the whole city sincerely repented. This would have been great news for most preachers, but Jonah apparently had other ideas. He wanted Nineveh and all its people obliterated. So when God mercifully decided to spare the city, Jonah flew into a rage and asked God to just kill him. Still hoping that the destruction of Nineveh might be imminent, the prophet later left the city and picked a nice spot on a nearby hill where he could keep an eye out for fire and brimstone. Thankfully, Yahweh never granted him the show. And this is the last one, or in this case, the first one, from Verse.com, 10 strange and controversial biblical prophets. Number 1, the nasty prophetic underpants. Seems they may have saved the best for last. Let's see. Let's scroll down a bit. In a passage found in the book of Jeremiah, God instructs the prophet to act out a lesson for the people via a linen, quote, waist cloth. The word is ambiguous enough that it could refer to a belt or to a cloth tied around the waist, a common type of underwear at the time. Most scholars favor the second interpretation, since the intimacy of the garment to the wearer requires it to be an undergarment. Sticking with the underwear interpretation, God tells Jeremiah to go out and buy himself a new linen undergarment, but forbids him from letting water touch it. In other words, Jeremiah can't wash his underwear. After wearing the waistcloth for some time, God tells the prophet, take it off and hide it in the cleft of a rock near the Euphrates, and things don't end there. After many days, Jeremiah is instructed to return to the Euphrates and retrieve his hidden undies. Once there, the prophet finds the underwear in a disgusting state and judges it, quote, ruined and useless. God then informs him that the pride of Judah and Jerusalem will be ruined in the same way as his revolting underwear. Quote, for as the girdle cleaveth to the loins of a man, so have I caused to cleave unto me the whole house of Israel. And that was the 10 strange and controversial biblical prophets. Let me come over here and check out the chat room and see how you guys are doing. Let's see what's what, you know? Give me a second. It looks like it's popping up here. All right, there we go. Cool, and we're back. Let me check out chat here. Say hi to some folks. Thanks, Effie. I think, yeah, there you are. Good to see you, Effie. And thanks. I'm doing really good. I'm getting better. And thanks for being such a good mod, too. I appreciate you. So that's it, guys. It's some of the stuff I want to share with you tonight. Looks like we've been going a good couple hours almost. I think that's a good one. I think that's it's a pretty good night, right? Right? All right, guys. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'm going to go ahead and call her a night, man. We had a good couple hours almost. We got to do a chill and chat, which I missed. It's been quite a while. I'll be doing more of this. You know, I'm sure occasionally I'll have a guest or two, and I'll open it up again and bring some of you folks on that'd like to chat sometime. But you know, I want to do some more chill and chats for a while. This is nice. It gives me a chance just to connect with you guys one on one and see what's on your mind. So oftentimes I'll actually learn new things from you guys. You give me good leads on stories I'm interested in and videos I want to make. So speaking of which, I got videos coming up this week. I'm back. I will have my website ready by next Saturday by the show, and I'll release it maybe even before then. I don't know, but that'll be fun because there's a chat room there. We can go there. There's no ads on the site, so it's nothing like that. But you can go there. I may have you register to chat though, and you don't got to pay anything to register, but just that'll help keep trolls out. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I don't know. Just few minor flourishes I have to go, but I'll just keep an eye on everything too. You know, like the stuff we we're talking about with Obama. You know, he's not out of the picture yet. A lot of people are just writing him off and just saying, there's nothing. You know, but his is going to be an interesting one to watch. Just today, Trump called him out and said that he was bugging him pre-election or whatever. So you know, that Obama had his him bugged or whatever and being watched. Called him out directly. So it's going to be interesting. You know, this is also, it seems to be a great example of kind of social engineering also. You know, this is where you can see the so-called civil war really coming. They really are trying to divide sides, you know, black and white, you know. You've got the children of the New World Order, the so-called snowflakes that riot and burn things up and, you know, just totally bought into the fascist leftist stuff, which it's all very fascist now. You know, unfortunately, these aren't your grandpappy's liberals these days, you know. So anyway, man, there I go rambling again. Anyway, guys, you know what? I got a lot of love for you. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing some of your Saturday night with us tonight. I hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed yourself, maybe learned a thing or three. And that's about it. You know, thanks. Let me just go all the way down here. If I didn't get a chance to shout you out, sorry, guys, okay? But Anyway, we'll do it again next week, okay? And until then, y'all be safe, be cool. Thanks for watching the videos and everything, and I'll talk to you later.